Like, talk to me about your background, Josh. Like, what was your tell people that don't know a little bit about your background, about the deck being stacked.
So at 19, I got a 5-year sentence in prison.
I want to
Shows
ask
up at your doorstep.
I love it. Well, I want to ask you guys both this question. You guys can answer it one by one. But like, I think a lot of people that would get into this program, or in general, that look at guys like you that are now very successful, or guys like me that have had a lot of success, right? And they're like, yeah, but hold on, like the deck is really stacked against me. Like the deck's stacked against me. I have, this has happened or that happened. Like, talk to me about your background, Josh. Like, what was your tell people that don't know a little bit about your background, about the deck being stacked.
So at 19, I got a 5-year sentence in prison. That was kind of stacked against me, right? Ended up getting out, moving out to Colorado. Parole officer wouldn't let me drive, so I had to ride a bus to work. Some days I had to walk, so I'd walk like 4 hours to work, do my work, walk 4 hours home. And it was really bad. And I jumped in this moving company, learned moving, kicked off my first moving company in my garage, built that up. But I mean, talk about the deck being stacked, right? I came from, we were poor. My mom couldn't keep food in the fridge, right? So I have this complex that I always have to keep food in my house now. So like we were poor. We lived in a trailer, came from the trailer, ended up in prison, came from prison, ended up in Colorado, walking to work, right? So that's kind of what I've had to overcome. It's like one thing after another. And these are just roadblocks, man. They're just things that you get through. They're things that you just continue to put that execution or that action behind, and you can outgrow them, right? So I guarantee there's not too many out there that have had a deck stacked as much against them as I have.
Yeah, what about you, Simon? So what was your deck that was stacked?
Well, it was not as bad as his deck. But I dropped out of high school, got my GED, got my class 1 truck driving license, and drove truck for almost 10 years. And then didn't have a lot of options. So I started looking online. I remember just literally typing in, how do you make money online like an idiot? And started jumping in a bunch of different things. And well, 5 years ago, jumped on a call with you and made a lot of sense. And that was pretty much it. So,
well, you skipped a huge portion of things, but whatever.
Yeah. I've heard a few stories, but I'm just...
I don't want to. I've had some legal issues in the past myself that I don't want to go too much into.
No, you don't have to. But what I'm saying is I think like the difference, or the thing that I see about all the successful entrepreneurs that I run into, you guys included, is like every one of them's had some sort of freaking bad thing, or no, not every one of them, but I feel like you guys specifically embody the person that's basically selling themselves that, man, it's different for those guys. Those guys are different. And I'm thinking like, no, you don't understand. These guys both did time. Mm-hmm. These guys had the legal deck stacked against them. They had to jump through a lot of hoops. But the difference is, and I think I see this in both you guys, is it's always about finding the solution to these problems or these obstacles that have been put in front of you guys. Mm-hmm. And it's that can-do kind of mentality of like, I'm not going to let these little blips in the radar take me off pace, mm-hmm. right? And I think people need to see that and see that, hey, it's not someone that had a golden spoon in their mouth, and that's the only way you're going to be successful in this space. Like, there's people that were completely jacked and now are crushing it.
Well, yeah, I think so. On that, for me, well, basically everyone in my family thought I was a loser and wasn't going to add up to anything. So it's kind of like you said, that was my this is like my fuck you to all of them, basically.
And you're competing against.
Exactly.
Yep.
And number two, I don't want to go back to driving truck ever again. So that's like so no matter how hard it gets, I have to set up a couple more lead gen sites, or I've put my fucking foot in my mouth, got 150 to do this year. That's nothing compared to, going back to driving truck for 70 hours a week. So
doing 1 million miles or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.